Digital IDs are the final step in weaponizing the money against us. We already live in a fiat system where we are structurally being stolen from, and we have zero sovereignty over our money other than in cash form, and even that's weak. CBDCs are tyranny in a box, and they can only be delivered after a digital ID. And so digital ID, the only reason, is control and further empowerment of the state to eventually steal everything from everybody. The reason we even have a fiat layer to our money is because gold didn't work. Gold fell short of being perfect money. That's why we had the paper layer. There is no compromise needed with Bitcoin. It is perfect money. We live in a fiat system where the greatest trick of the fiat system is to convince people they're getting wealthier as they're getting stolen from. It's very hard to reverse engineer the set of issues that we experienced in our lives that are continually growing in size but deteriorating our existence. People are trapped within the fiat system and they have not had the mental framework in their mind in which to slot Bitcoin. They never question the small changes, and it's the accumulation of those which is the biggest danger. If everyone in the world could just watch what's the problem, we would be able to accelerate things massively, because you cannot unsee it once you've seen it, and you just see the world differently.
Good morning. We're live streamed on my Rumble channel, so hi to everyone that's watching from all over the world. I'm Efrat Fenigson. I have a podcast called You're the Voice, and I am super happy to be here in Lugano. Plan B, thanks for hosting me. Thanks for hosting us for this beautiful conference. And thank you so much, Joe, for joining me this morning.
Delighted to be here, so thank you. Thank you, Efrat.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start with Joe Bryan. If you guys don't know Joe, listen up. Joe Bryan is the creator of What's the Problem? How many of you have watched the movie What's the Problem? All right, about 30% of you. Cool. You guys have homework to do. Joe has spent the past 10 years building tech businesses. He's a former Goldman Sachs derivative trader turned Bitcoin educator who uses storytelling and sharp economic insights to expose the flaws of the fiat system and frame Bitcoin as the solution. Let's start with the first question. How many views did the film get to today? And how many translated languages? And if you can give us like a short description of what the film's about.
Sure. Well, it's in the millions now, but I don't know precise numbers because it's primarily on X. I posted it on X as a 39-minute video embedded, and I just put the YouTube link below it, originally to probably about 200 bots. And within a week, it had been shared and reshared, and then Michael Saylor shared it with the world, and now it's out the box, and I can no longer track the number of views. But I know that the YouTube link below, which is not the primary, is 350,000 now on a brand new YouTube account with a single video. So it's clearly spreading around the world. And when I launched it, I just hoped enough people would watch it that I wouldn't be embarrassed by the view count. And so reaching this stage is just wonderful. And I was inundated and continue to be inundated by Bitcoiners from around the world who get in touch and say, can I translate this into my language? And so we've gone from a single video in English to having more than 40 full translations by Bitcoiners around the world of the video in the subtitles. We've got 30 full languages of the slide deck in the video in the native language with the speaker notes, with the transcript open to everybody on the website. You can just go and download it. You can present it. We've covered a large percentage of the world's population that can now access this locally in person from Bitcoiners. And we've even got 10 brand new videos where it's somebody speaking their native language, and the video has been spliced to have the native language slides in the video.
Right.
They're all now on YouTube. And we've even had people go and remake the video completely. We had one in Icelandic last week. somebody else talking, another Bitcoiner talking, recreating the entire video, localized for Iceland. And so this is just something that now
It's viral.
lives, and it's
So-
open for everybody.
I'm sure everyone that hasn't watched it is now curious what the movie is about and why is it so successful.
Well, it's a Bitcoin. I say movie's probably a bit grand. A Bitcoin video that doesn't mention Bitcoin for 30 minutes, but it means. Well, the reason I created it was I was invited by a friend to go and visit him for a weekend with 15 of his friends from his life, and I didn't know them. And he said, "Can you all bring something to talk about? If everyone brings something to talk about for half an hour, we'll create a nice weekend of content, and we'll have a great time." And I'd never had to take what was in my head, what we all carry in our heads, and actually put it down in a way that I can structurally communicate it to someone. And I thought in 30 minutes, I'm not going to be able to explain Bitcoin to someone. But if I change my target to be after 30 minutes, I want them to learn about Bitcoin. That's much more achievable. And so I just made a story which explains why the world is the way it is today from first principles with Pixar characters. And it can be watched by anyone of any age, any background, sex, religion, political leaning. It's no sharp edges. And you cannot watch it and not come away with understanding why we need Bitcoin, and Bitcoin being the way we separate money and state. And that, if you can take the world and within half an hour, when they get asked the question, why do we need Bitcoin? It's to separate money and state.
Yeah.
Then they're at the starting line. And then it's on them to take that forward if they are so motivated, but at least they have a mental view of the world, a mental framework in which to slot Bitcoin. Because I think sorry, this is a long answer, but I think what we perhaps struggle with as a community is that we talk about the solution. And it's like anything, no one can really appreciate or value a solution unless you really understand the problem. But most people don't have a view of the world in which to neatly slot Bitcoin. And so you give them that skeletal mental framework and they just slot Bitcoin in. It's like, okay, I get it now. Right. And you can't force them to then learn about it, but most do. Most do.
And I would assert that mostly in the West, people don't see the problem because it's so hidden from sight. It is so sophisticated and genius the way the fiat system is implemented, and you are not understanding that you are being stolen from until you reach a really bad situation, and that's what it explains, right?
Well, absolutely. I mean, we live in a fiat system where the greatest trick of the fiat system is to convince people they're getting wealthier as they're getting stolen from. And it's very hard to reverse engineer the set of issues that we experience in our lives that are continually growing in size, but deteriorating our existence, and tie them back to a root cause. But if you turn it around and you run it the other way, it becomes super easy. It's like, imagine we started here, and then we made some very small decisions, what naturally happens, and we end up as today. And then everyone then has a map in their mind. And humans remember stories. They tend not to remember lectures.
Yeah. If you want to be a good communicator, you want to learn how to communicate effectively. Storytelling is one of the best ways of doing that. So in today's reality, where we just mentioned the fiat system, where the government can press that big red button that we have in the movie and just print more money and make us poorer whenever they want. And in the age of digital control, what do most people miss and don't pay attention to?
Well, I mean, the context there is, in the video, I've abstracted the entire financial system just to a single big red button that can be pressed at any time, which undermines both the quantity of money and the censorship-resistant nature of money. And this is where we lead to today. But I think most people humans generally are not very good at compounding. And, we think about compounding in sort of compounding of interest and things scaling over time and becoming exponential. But we experience this every day for the small changes that get forced upon us. It's a small change here. It's a small change here. It's a small change here. But those small changes add up to tyranny. Yeah. tyranny. And it's like the boiling frog. And while people are trapped within the fiat system and they have not had the mental framework in their mind in which to slot Bitcoin, they never question the small changes. And it's the accumulation of those which is the biggest danger. And everyone feels it. Everybody knows there is something wrong. They just haven't been shown the map. And so if everyone in the world could just watch what's the problem, we would be able to accelerate things massively, because you cannot unsee it once you've seen it. And you just see the world differently.
Yeah.
It suddenly makes sense, and you can see through the nonsense.
Yeah.
It gives you a radar that you did not have before.
The mental framework.
Yeah.
And speaking of tyranny, the UK is rapidly the UK is rapidly advancing digital IDs. What are the risks involved in that? Can you tell us a bit about the state of things in the UK these days?
Well, I mean, the UK is in a terrible place and rapidly going off a cliff.
And how does it tie into?
Well, I mean, in much like the rest of the world, all of a sudden, digital IDs are the hot topic. And it's no coincidence that this is happening everywhere at the same time, all with different excuses as to why. And the excuses are tailored to whatever the political agenda is in the country. For us, it's stopping illegal immigration, which is just totally nonsense. And it's such a flimsy article that the argument that they really struggle to keep a straight face when they deliver it. But digital IDs are the final step in weaponizing the money against us. So we already live in a fiat system where we are structurally being stolen from, and we have with zero sovereignty over our money other than in cash form, and even that's weak. It is not actively being weaponized against us. The money is the money. It still retains fungibility, so every dollar is the same as every other dollar. You still require permission, you can't hold it yourself, etc., etc., so it's still terrible. But digital IDs allow the weaponization of it to such an extent that it will imprison us forever. CBDCs are tyranny in a box, and they can only be delivered after a digital ID. And so digital ID, the only reason, is control and further empowerment of the state to eventually steal everything from everybody. And so make no mistake about this, digital IDs is the line. It's here and no further. And this goes to every country around the world. And I would go further as to say, most places right now, we still live in a society where you can buy Bitcoin. There are hurdles, there are challenges, there's more and more regulatory friction that gets put up, some places more than others, but you can still exchange fiat for Bitcoin. In a CBDC world, that becomes potentially near impossible. And so they're trying to close the gates. Like, go watch the video. The second thing Fiatello does in the video is that once the wall cracks and the value and the people start leaving, he tries to block it. Right? It's just CBDCs. Once you make the money programmable, you can stop it being exchanged for Bitcoin, and then you're trapped in the system. So when CBDCs come, it is the wall getting put up permanently, and then acquiring Bitcoin for people who do not own it means not being able to do it through fiat and having to do it through other ways. So if we're serious about making Bitcoin the money of the world, we absolutely cannot compromise on digital ID. We cannot compromise on CBDCs. And it's on each of us to try and hold the line wherever we are in the world. And we do that best by educating other people. Help them realize what is happening to them before it is too late.
You're the Voice is brought to you by Trezor, the original Bitcoin hardware wallet company pioneering the development of self-custody for crypto assets since 2013, empowering individuals with an open-source device, enabling beginners and experts to easily and securely hold their coins. I find my Trezor super easy to use and recommend it to my friends and family. Enjoy my 5% discount on Trezor products by clicking the link in the show notes and using the code FLAT. Self-custody is powerful, but what if someone forces you to unlock your wallet? Bitcoin settles instantly, and that freedom can also be a risk. BitVault is the first Bitcoin wallet built to protect against both physical attacks and digital hacks. It creates a banking-grade vault on-chain with 2 of 3 multi-sig, time-delayed transactions, 2 hours to 15 days, giving you space to react, trustless recovery after 1 year, works with trusted hardware wallets, open source, and built with one focus, beyond keys, protecting humans. Only 42 lifetime subscriptions are available at $199 forever. Head over to bitvault.sv to sign up and use code FLAT for 10% off.
I want to introduce you to Abundant Minds because they take a very different approach to Bitcoin mining. Most people buy Bitcoin, but the smart ones mine it straight into self-custody. With Abundant Minds, you can do it without giving up your privacy. Abundant Minds was founded by Bo and Christine Marie Turner, a couple who lost more than $500,000 to providers making empty promises. Instead of walking away, they built a company that raises the industry standard and puts client first, and that's why I like them. With Abundant Minds, you own your machines. They never touch your Bitcoin, never skim a revenue share, and you choose your own mining pool. Their customer care is unusual. Clients speak to a real person for self-custody education, privacy consulting, and even visiting their site. They serve clients from around the world, but US investors specifically enjoy a big tax benefit and 100% bonus depreciation. This is more than just mining Bitcoin. It's about freedom, privacy, and purpose. You can book a free strategy call, see how it works, and mine some of your first Bitcoin for free with a special offer for my audience. Learn more on abundantminds.com/eflat. So these are all preliminary steps, and we have to be vigilant and aware enough to see them as what they are and not disregard them. Oh, digital ID, it has nothing to do with money. You have to be smarter than that and see a few steps ahead. Totally agree with you. What are the social trade-offs between security and sovereignty in this emerging digital identity era?
That's hard. It's hard, isn't it? I mean, we've all made that. I mean, I would imagine most people here have made that first on-chain transaction where, there is no safety net and you feel for the first time that you actually control your money. That is a hard barrier to get people over. But over time, and much like the way that the internet has evolved from the early 90s, Bitcoin, the UX and the products around Bitcoin are constantly evolving to make the trade-offs between those two things as limited as possible. If you'd said to someone in the 90s, in 2025, everyone walk around with phones and iPads and children and old people would be on the internet all the time, you'd be like, of course not. Right? Because you hadn't thought about the cumulative effect of technological and user experience iteration, which happens gradually with leaps, but gradually over time. As people find best practices, they replicate them, they share them, they iterate upon them. And so Bitcoin is just undergoing the same technical journey. So you have the adoption cycle, but you also have the same underlying technology and UX trend. So in 20 years' time, 10 years' time, maybe even faster, you're not going to have the same level of trade-offs that you have today, where somebody can, lose their life savings to try and make an on-chain transaction and they get spoofed or something like this. Those things will probably always have an edge case, but the surface area of risk will be massively reduced, and it will become more and more easy for everybody, especially when Bitcoin becomes the active money on a day-to-day basis, because Bitcoin is money. It is not an asset. It's not an asset you lock away in a vault. It's money. It's money. The reason we have a fiat layer.
Some bankers, which is your past, would disagree with you, but I love hearing it from you.
Oh, well, they would disagree because they don't understand. That's the problem. I mean, it's on them. But this takes time. The reason we even have a fiat layer to our money is because gold didn't work. Gold fell short of being perfect money. That's why we had the paper layer. There is no compromise needed with Bitcoin. It is perfect money. It is the money for the world. It's what we're all going to use, spend, save our economic energy in. But we need to normalize that. It's on us. Like, we are the most motivated consumer segment on the planet. We're like vegans on steroids, right? But in a really positive way, because we care about this thing so much, we will make irrational economic decisions to help other people understand and to help this become the money of the world. We're just not utilizing all our full power.
So I want to tap into your experience as a digital tech entrepreneur for the past 10 years and take you into the future. Do you think Bitcoin has what it takes to scale securely and in an efficient manner to cater for a widespread adoption of this technology?
Absolutely. Absolutely. The Lightning Network is amazing. Absolutely amazing. And you see more and more innovation around the sides using Lightning as the pipes of value. Lightning is going to replace the entire global financial payments infrastructure. They just don't realize it yet. Right? We're just early. Like, if you've used a Lightning wallet and you pay someone instantly and you're both self-sovereign, it's like a
perfect
wow moment.
Yes.
Wow moment.
Yeah.
And we just need more people to experience that wow moment. And the fact that the merchant will receive the money instantly, the bank's not going to reverse the transaction after 3 months. They're not going to get charged 8% on a credit card, that they have a direct relationship with you as the consumer and you prioritize spending money with them because they accept Bitcoin. It becomes a competitive advantage for them.
Absolutely.
Bitcoin is a competitive advantage for absolutely everybody that embraces it. And the rationale, the logical conclusion is you embrace Bitcoin, you do not fight it, because if you fight it, you lose. And this is why Bitcoin will inevitably sweep over the world, right? But it needs to be driven from our day-to-day actions. The biggest thing we can do right now is two things. Spend Bitcoin, normalize Bitcoin as money, and fight digital IDs. Those are the two things.
Beautiful. And I know, yes, please, yes, fight digital IDs. I know you recently visited Sweden. Can you tell us a bit about that visit? That's interesting.
Oh, I mean, if you told me at the start of the year in January when I released the video to nobody that I'd be invited to the Swedish Parliament to talk to their MPs about Bitcoin, I'd have been like, that's never going to happen. But yeah, I was there a few weeks ago. It was great. I delivered What's the Problem in person.
To the Swedish Parliament.
To members of the Swedish Parliament. We can't force everyone to sit down and watch a presentation about Bitcoin, unfortunately. It was optional. But we had around a dozen Swedish MPs in their contingent there. And I had to tailor the message slightly, dampen down the "it's all your fault" rhetoric. But they were very receptive. It was very fiat mindset. But the ball is rolling, and the week later they sent a bill to Parliament to the establishment of a strategic Bitcoin reserve for discussion.
Wow.
And so...
looks like it's shaping up.
It's early days, and the ball has started rolling. But, I mean, Sweden specifically, they have a gargantuan amount of free energy. And they're worried about their geopolitical stability of the countries around them, and they want independence. They're not subject to the EU. They have their own. They're not in the euro. They have their own currency. They have green. They have green oil, right? They're just not monetizing it, and they could, to give you a sense of scale, if they stopped selling their energy to Norway for effectively zero, and they mined Bitcoin instead, they could mine 70,000 Bitcoin a year. And that would put them in the top 3 holders of any nation state in 1 year. They have at their fingertips, if they wish to grasp it, the ability to become a global superpower powered by Bitcoin.
Wow. And you said those things to those people? Did they hear you say that?
Exactly that, yeah.
Were they blown away?
Were
they skeptical?
I think it was a lot to take in.
Yes.
But I hope on reflection they will see that Bitcoin is like for everyone, a competitive advantage for them. You do not lose votes being pro-Bitcoin. You win all the votes for being pro-Bitcoin for the people who, for them, is the only thing that matters. I'm a one-issue voter. If you're going to help Bitcoin win, I will vote for you. I probably wouldn't have voted otherwise. Right? You activate a voter base. You win all of the votes. Nobody is a one-issue anti-Bitcoin voter. They don't exist. They care about other things. So it's nonsensical not to be the most pro-Bitcoin candidate you could possibly be.
Definitely can help countries with sovereignty.
Absolutely.
And stop being so dependent on zones, Eurozone and BRICS, etc. So they just have to open their minds to it, become humble and curious.
Well, the ball has started rolling. Let's see how far it goes.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Okay. I have a few questions, rapid, quick hit questions, kind of. Okay, we'll take them one at a time. 5 of them really short, but I'm curious to hear your answers. So one book that significantly shifted your worldview. Or feel free to give me 2 if you insist.
I've got two. I mean, the first one is a very short book. You can get it for £5 or €5 on Amazon. And it's what has the government done to our money?
What's it called?
What has the government done to our money? By Rothbard. Written 60 years ago. You can read it in 40 minutes. I would encourage absolutely everybody to read that book. And then the second one, which I imagine a bunch of people have already read, is Atlas Shrugged. A wonderful book.
Say why.
It's 1,000 pages of
short read
of small text. I would encourage audio book as opposed to physical book to try and get through it. But it is just the most wonderful book. It is Bitcoin. It is Bitcoin. I don't ascribe to everything in the book because she's the creator of objectivism, and there's no mention of family and these sorts of things in there. So, take it, in that context. But she describes it is, people talk about 1984 or Animal Farm or these as being representations of a dystopian future or warnings around the dangers of socialism. None of them describe the world of today like Ayn Rand does in Atlas Shrugged. It is like it is written in 2025, and she wrote it in the late 50s, early 60s. She was a Bitcoiner. It just Bitcoin didn't exist. It is a society split between the producers and the people who are not the producers. And the people who are the
Parasites.
producers.
I call them the parasites.
Yeah, that's not the terminology she uses. It's producers and the looters and the intellectuals. But it's today. And it's the producers who drive value, who create productivity. Like the default for us, the default state of the world is poverty. It is not prosperity. So the question is not what causes poverty. The question is what causes prosperity. And so we live in the West, well, in all of the world now, where the viewpoint through which we think about everything from a top-down perspective is 180 degrees the wrong way around. And in Ayn Rand's book, when you push people too far, they say no. And they just opt out. They opt out into a new system where value is recognized, where you don't get things for free, you contribute and you benefit. And they even end up using a new money, which they will only work for. And it's just Bitcoin. It is a Bitcoin book written 40 years before Bitcoin was even produced, and I would encourage absolutely everybody to read that.
Perfect. All right, 4 more short. Okay? A daily habit you have which you recommend others to take or look into.
Okay. I mean, not entirely obvious. However, I try to go on the treadmill every day. And so the reason I do that is to let my mind wander. Because when we're going through our routines and our daily lives, We have very few times where we sort of switch off and we disconnect. And I don't have a TV on. I put music on, and I just let my mind go for half an hour, and it goes into different areas, and it allows me to reflect on things and process things and be creative in a way that I would not be able to achieve without doing that.
What's the one thing you believed 5 years ago that you don't believe anymore today?
That this time it was different. You know, we're educated to believe that we have reached a level of awareness post-World War II, a level of awareness and righteousness in the way that we have set up our civilization, that we will never repeat the things that have happened in the past. But it's just absolutely not true. We are rapidly hurtling towards exactly the same things. And history just repeats. I also, it's not a book recommendation, but I listened to The History of Rome by Mike Duncan. And it's a couple of hundred episodes, each half an hour long. And he recounts the entire history of the Roman Empire from pre-founding through to, you know, I mean, it doesn't go all the way to the Turks taking Constantinople. It sort of draws a line a bit shorter than that, a few hundred years. But you just see history repeat.
Yep.
It just goes over and over and over again, because humans are humans. And when you give people exorbitant power, they destroy everything. And there is no greater exorbitant power than having access to a big red button.
That's right.
And this is the entire fiat system. So we've built ourselves on democracy, but democracy's been corrupted. We've built ourselves on free market capitalism. Free market capitalism has been corrupted. We are rapidly hurtling towards socialism and the destruction of everything in the West. So you need to learn about Bitcoin. You need to opt out. You need to build the parallel system. It's the only way we fix this. It's the only way we fix this, because with Bitcoin, this time it is different.
So fill in a blank. True sovereignty is?
Being able to say no.
Perfect. Perfect. We have to wrap up. Where can people follow you?
You can find me on X at Satmojoe, SATMOJOE. I'm on LinkedIn for people who still live there. You can find me because I still, you know, I'm building businesses and, you know, need to be in the real, you know, in the non-Bitcoin world as well to try and bring as many people across as possible. And to watch the video, just go to whatstheproblem.org. Or just Google what's the problem. It's right on the first page now, wherever you are in the world on Google. And so just watch it, please. Help yourselves to all the materials. I would love, and I've met so many people these last couple of days who are giving this presentation in their local language, in their own communities. This is for everybody. We need everyone in the world to watch it or understand the content, and then we can fix things.
Wonderful. Joe, thank you so much for your vision, for putting it into action, and for your grand warning for everyone. I truly appreciate your work and what you do. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Epa. Thank you.
Thanks for being with us. Please take a minute to give this episode a like, a comment, and subscribe or follow. And please share it with your friends so they can also get value and choose to take some positive action in their lives. Till next time.